Everybody, it's Ron from Ron's Basement. Thank you for joining me today. I have a video about a letter that I'm sending off to the CEO of a large natural gas exploration and production company. The company's name is Antero Resources, and the CEO is Mr. Paul Rady. Now, I own the stock. I own it in my retirement account. I purchased it at about $1.60 per share. Today, March 4th, 2020, it's trading at about $1.30 per share. So I did not time my purchase very well. However, this company, like many of the peer companies in their industry, has experienced what I would call a decimation of shareholder value. Just within the last 5 years, this company, their stock has gone from $45 a share at its high all the way down to about $1.30 today. And that represents a whopping 97% decrease in shareholder value. So I wrote up a letter. I think there's a few things that the company could be doing a little differently right now. I have a few critiques of the company and some ideas that I'd like to hear back from them in regards to how they can do things differently. So this video is for you, the shareholders, but it's also directed to Mr. Paul Rady and the entire executive team at Antero Resources. Something's got to change, and let's head over to my whiteboard. I'll read through the text of my letter and see what we can get done. Okay, folks, so here we are over at the whiteboard. I'm going to read through the letter that I am sending off today to Mr. Rady at Antero Resources. Hey, times are really tough in the natural gas business. We are with you. I personally own the stock, and I appreciate all your hard work, but we need some changes and we need some communication. First off, you can communicate with us directly via public releases or maybe even video. But we want to know what's going on, what you're doing, more often than once every 3 months during a conference call. Are you working on a royalty deal? Have you sold some hedges? Or have you sold some of the stock in Antero Midstream? If the aforementioned, if divulging this information would jeopardize a possible current strategy the company might have, there's some people that think that what the company's doing is kind of holding off on announcing what their plans are to deal with debt down the road. So if announcing something would kind of jeopardize the ability right now of the company to be able to buy back debt or stock on the market, they've been repurchasing a lot of stock on the open market, then you don't have to announce it to us directly. But what you can do is communicate with us indirectly by yourself and or other insiders making large purchases of Antero stock on the open market. I understand you already own a large number of shares, but that fact is one of the key points that attracted many investors to your company to begin with. But the Antero stock price has entered a new domain to the downside, and I cannot think of anything that would effectively communicate your conviction and belief in Antero than a large stock purchase on the open market. If Paul or other members of the executive team were to announce that they purchased 5 million, 2 million shares on the open market, that would send a clear message that, hey, we still believe in this company. We believe that we're going to come back, and we believe that so much that we're willing to put our own money up and buy shares. So buy some shares. I'm also recommending that you address several conspiracy theories currently being floated in market chatter. First of which being that Antero Resources is being treated as nothing more than a host to Antero Midstream, which enables Antero Midstream to continue to pay the very high dividend, which is partially being funded by Antero Resources' high debt. And I'd like to make a note that the Antero Resources executive team are major holders in Antero Midstream and derive a significant personal financial benefit from the said dividend payments. What what's being said here is by some people, and again, I'm not saying that I absolutely believe this to be true, but there are people who think this is true, so I think it needs to be addressed, is that Antero Resources is nothing more than a honey hole for Antero Midstream, and that enabling Antero Midstream, because they have some contracts with Antero Resources, to be able to pay a very high dividend. And members of the executive team at Antero Resources are also major shareholders in Antero Midstream. So what we want to make sure here is that they're not just using Antero Resources to be able to fund Antero Midstream's ability to pay a dividend. The other conspiracy theory that's out there is that there might be an intention to take Antero Resources private, and that might explain large share repurchases over the last 2 years. Now, I believe it's about 10% of the company's repurchased about 10% of their outstanding stock over the last 2 years, and I think 6% or 7% alone since October of 2019. That is very unusual for a company that is supposedly facing a debt crisis, to say it in a very blunt terms. A company that the market is concerned about their ability to pay off their 2021 and 2022 bonds, that they would be spending millions of dollars repurchasing shares instead of saving up every penny they can get their hands on to be able to pay off the bonds when they come due. So that's something that I think needs to be addressed as well. Kind of what's going on? Why are we having these huge share repurchases when we're supposedly facing a debt crisis? Additionally, in light of recent company and stock price performance, I welcome your continued focus on cost containment and reduction, to include the senior management team of Antero taking a long, hard look at their compensation packages. With the company and stock price fighting for survival, I believe the time is right to temporarily deliver some of the exaggerated executive compensation funds back to the company's cash flow statement. I understand the executive team likes to make a lot of money, but I caution you not to kill the chicken to get the egg. While you cannot control the price of natural gas, you can exert a strong degree of control over expenses. I encourage you to consider any and all reasonable measures to get costs under control. Thank you, Mr. Rady, and the whole executive team at Antero for your time. I believe you are capable of making wise decisions which will position Antero for long-term viability and success. As an Antero stockholder, I appreciate your work on my behalf, and I look forward to your response. Antero Resources stock price is on the ropes. Now is the time for forthright communications with your loyal shareholders and a laser focus by the executive team to deliver results. To fellow shareholders of Antero Resources, if you agree with the points laid out in this video, I encourage you to call Investor Relations. You can find the number on their website and tell them that you agree with Ron's basement video. I recommend you leave a message because my experience has been that they do not return calls or emails, but I have only left one of each. Thank you for your time. Ronald Brandstetter. Well, there you have it, folks. That's my letter to Mr. Paul Rady and the executive team at Antero Resources. I hope that they watch this video. I hope that they consider one or some of my ideas and recommendations. And most importantly, I hope that they make good decisions, honest decisions for the best long-term result for the company and the share price. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.